It's evolving! Our Abra has transformed into a Kudabra! I'm not certain how you get it to go into Alakazam, but hey. A few more months, really one more month of waiting, and Pokemon Conquest will be on the shores of America. And then we can all enjoy it. But in the meantime, you are watching my Let's Play of Pokemon+Nobunaga's Ambition. I'm your host, DeoGenZ, and today is another training episode. As I mentioned many times before, I don't want this game to seem mysterious to anyone, and I don't want to buffer my skills, and by buffer I mean make it seem as though I'm better than I actually am. I want you to understand how much training it takes to be proficient in this game, and as a Let's Play guide, it really doesn't do you any good to see the after effects of all that training and not know how it all went down. But it's been a while. It's been a while since I've put out the Nobunaga's Ambition series. Good reason for that. I finally got back that research paper that I made, which was exclusively all about Pokemon. It was about the history of Pokemon, how it's changed culture for the better, and I've mentioned the deep subculture, which of course I am happily a part of. And guess what it ended up getting as a grade, guys? Do keep in mind, I am in a college course right now, talking about Pokemon. It got a 50 out of 50. Yeah, I know, for a second there you were going to think, a 50? Oh, damn, DeoGenZ. Maybe you should stick to Benjamin Franklin or something more traditional. But yes, that's correct. I got 100. So it goes to show, as I've been talking about in other episodes of this walkthrough particularly, of this Let's Play particularly, is the way of the warrior, the way of the Book of Five Rings. When you can see the way in one thing, you can master it in everything. And that's what I've done with Pokemon. It's been my life's work, literally. It's been my life's work. I've spent years training these things in numerous games across many generations. So why wouldn't I talk about something that I know the most? Turns out beneficial. So if you're ever nervous about doing anything of that nature where you want to go full on out, describe in class how video games totally pwn, just be sure to do it by their rules and by their stipulations. I mean, there was lots of research that had to go into that, and my research took me down some interesting paths. I read a lot of cool interviews with Satoshi Tajiri, who is the original creator of Pokemon, and I got a big feel for how this game really is, or how this game really was developed, I should say, not how it is, how it appears to people's perceptions, but I understood more why he invented this game and saw his childhood in it big time. You know, Tajiri was nicknamed Dr. Bug by his friends, his comrades, many times because he would go around cataloging all these types of creatures that he found under rocks and in the forests. And as urbanization snuck in and took away all the forests and trees and natural zones and biomes to explore, he went to the arcades and then instantly fell in love with that experience. So that was very much an enjoyable paper to do. I want to present it to you guys so you can understand what I talked about and not just get a review of the paper, because really I'd like you to hear what my thoughts were on this wonderful franchise. But I am working towards seeing if it could get published. I won't know for at least a year, so I guess it's kind of a to-be-continued story. But it's good to know that doing what you love really does pay off in the end. Now, what is this? Let's see. I'm going to try out the mining next, because I'm curious. what kind of things can come out of there. That mining mini-game, or that mining option in this area, is probably a way that we get evolutionary stones, I would imagine. So in other Pokemon news, since this is a training episode and not much needs to be said about it, you know, we're just going along, building up our experience as Busho leaders, and that's about it. We're getting set to take on some other nations right now, but you know what's going down. So in other Pokemon news, I had a shocking experience at my local card store. If you guys don't know, I recently moved away from my old home, which was in Jersey, in an area with lots of farms. In fact, it was called Farmingdale, and I lived in a shitty house, so I'm happy to be out of that situation. But where I ended up going to, was kind of a place that I grew up in. You know, it was on the Jersey Shore. I'm not going to tell you where, you freaks. You're not going to find me until I'm out of here, or know about where I was until I'm out of that area. But oftentimes, growing up on the shore, I would go to this local card shop, and they would have wonderful things like Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments. They would host those every weekend. And they would have hyper rare cards in cases of both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, because at the time that was what was huge. But I went back to that card store that I knew for so long back in my youth, and had many experiences there, meeting and making new friends, and found that it's mainly, sadly, a sports collectible store. That's right, guys. Unfortunately, it's a lot easier to sell sports cards to kids than it is Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! The silver lining to this, though, is now that I'm back in town and I'm going to the card store more regularly, I'm going to start talking with the guy and seeing if he can't work on getting more Pokemon cards into the store. Jeez, this Larvitar is hard to catch. And really fast befriending rates. Befriending QuickTime events. So, hopefully, they get more Pokemon cards in the store. The silver lining, of course, is that they did have black and white booster packs, which is all I really was looking for. You know, I didn't plan on spending $25 on one single card, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I've done in the past. I have spent $25, I believe, on a holographic Dark Magician card. It wasn't the regular Dark Magician, though. It was some kind of offset cousin of him. But it's been so long since I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! I couldn't tell you what it was. All I know is it was $25, and that stuck out in my mind because I was thinking, how absurd. This much money for one card, and then Yu-Gi-Oh! Went down the drain with all the other stupid fusions and generations and combinations you could make. Sure, I know for a fact it's still a heavily played game. In fact, there's a whole group at my college that sits around in the lobby and plays Yu-Gi-Oh! With themselves. And that's cool. I wish I could see Pokemon cards being played with in that manner. But I just do not have the money to keep up with that. Why I go to the card store now is so I can provide more entertainment for you guys of a different sort. While I don't post those kinds of videos on this channel anymore because I'm mainly making this my Let's Play channel, you can find my card pack openings on a channel called Planet Poke, or Planet Pokey. I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys can check it out, subscribe if you want. But it's a very brand spanking new channel, just released yesterday, Monday the 16th of April. It launched with a boom, and it's another channel put out by Fullscreen. So now I'm on Tiny Galaxy and Fullscreen, and already you can see one of my card pack openings, which I highly recommend checking out because the first one was epic. We ended up getting a super rare holographic card that is one of my personal favorites in the 5th gen. So I don't want to spoil it, but there are some good things to be had. And if you subscribe to that channel, you can keep up to date with any types of card openings that I do. The cool thing about Planet Poke is that it's exactly as the name entails. It's a planet full of Pokemaniacs like myself and you. Well, maybe not you. Maybe you're just casually coming by these videos to see what it's all about. But if it is you, that's the channel to go to, friends. You're going to be seeing not just content from me, but content from multiple very talented creators. And truthfully, it's what I wanted to do with this channel way back when, I guess 2 or 3 years ago it is by now. You see, this channel wasn't mine, and I tell this story at least once in many of my LPs just so newcomers can understand the origins of this channel, because it's important to me. This originally was a co-op owned channel with a guy named Ryan Church, who I did a Nintendo radio podcast with, and it went 100 episodes and then disbanded because he went to college and just couldn't keep up with the podcast workload. And I don't blame him. I mean, sometimes I find it hard to keep up with just the video regimens that I set for myself with all the new series and whatnot, and still have to do lab reports, research papers, and other things from college. But I keep it going. And what happened when we did disband was he gave me the YouTube, of which we uploaded our Nintendo radio reviews, which are still on this channel if you just do a search for them. Get a bit of history for what it was before this was solely DeoGenZ and Vladimir Z. Spong Mario has gone through some shifts. And I wanted to turn this place into an exclusive Pokemon channel. Kinda like Giant Carlo Pear Mango 11. I had some inspirations from him during the time it was his Heart Gold walkthrough. But I found myself more and more breaking away from that idea of just wanting to do Pokemon content exclusively. Because there are so many games that I experience that have such a vital impact on me. I like to say that I learn something extremely important from every game experience I play, whether it's a big lesson or small, whether it's something political or scientific that I'm making an observation possibly of happening, like Fallout, or if it's just a way of discipline, like the training that I do in my Pokemon games. You know, whatever it is, I try to take something from that experience and apply it to the real world. So with that, I just couldn't limit myself to only Pokemon, because my entire existence has been so much more than just Pokemon. It's a big part, has been thanks to this franchise and series, but I have branched out, and I want to share those experiences and enjoyable times in those games with you guys. And I thought it would make for a much better channel, which it is seeming to do. It's nice to have multiple viewers coming into the channel for whatever pleases them game-wise. If it's Vlad's Minecraft, the Jurassic Park series, which is becoming very popular, which I'm happy to see because it's one of my favorite franchises aside from Pokemon. I love dinosaurs, as it is. I love creatures, it seems. You know, there's always something for people here, and it's not just exclusively Pokemon. So that was what I wanted to do on this channel. Never did it because it was just too limited for myself. And now with Planet Poke, it allows me to do that without having to worry about the excessive amount of content that should be expected from a channel of that caliber. And it is a high caliber channel, I tell you. If you're someone who's looking for battles to watch, walkthroughs to get involved with, that's the perfect channel. Planet Poke is your one-stop area for everything Pokemon. I'm having some great plans to revamp my EV training series, in fact, so you'll be able to only see it on that channel as well. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything I specifically make, perhaps you just want to see my other non-Let's Play Pokemon content, like my vast collection of Pokemon figures and plushies and things like that, which inevitably will be coming to the channel whenever I get an HD camera. If you want to just see that, you can actually click on the Spong Mario title. It'll be highlighted in blue. And that will take you to my Spong Mario show page on that channel. So you can just subscribe to the show, and that will individually update every time a video by me is posted on that channel, which is very neat and very cool to see that early on such a new channel has this organization. Because a lot of times new channels get started, they have ambitious collaborators, but they're not managed well. So far, this channel has been managed perfect. Having it known who's making what content and when people can expect it is really a good habit to get into, and especially if you're a partnered LPer. People who don't even know what a show is, I'll let you know, it's just something a partnered person has the ability to do. I even do it sometimes, much less in volume because I don't have a computer to update with. I just do it from my phone, and it's hard to do from there. But basically, it makes it so that people can subscribe to a series, like a playlist, and people will be updated specifically when that playlist, that show, is updated. It's very handy in the hectic upload schedules of YouTubers, and knowing that you most likely don't have just one subscription, it's a good method to keep up on all series that you're serious about seeing. So I think that about does it. I don't want to bore you to death with excess training, but that is some of the things you need to do in this game in order to progress. Otherwise, you get your rumpus kicked. You get booted the heck out of all the nations. And if you show your signs of weakness to the others, they may take over. So, I will see you next time.